Hey, it's Lady Dre, 1977, and I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to talk about, and I think I'm going to name this video, Sins of the Mother. Now, I want to give a disclaimer because I'm going to be talking about some things that I experienced with my own narcissistic mother. And this is not a video to be a smear campaign. Many of you don't know me and you don't know my family. But this is to help someone who's experienced trauma from narcissistic mothers or fathers. But the whole premise is, as I stated, is talking about some of the things that I've experienced and how I dealt with those things over the years. Now, I can remember going back into my childhood and waking up in the mornings when I had school. And for the most part, my mother being mad at me for reasons I had no clue. And I would be accused of making her late for work. Now, as a child, how do you conjure up in your mind that, oh, I'm going to do something just to tick someone off today? That was a form of projection. That's a well-known narcissistic trait. Here's another type of projection. If I was sick, and this wasn't said all the time, if I were sick and I needed to go to the doctor, she would tell me, or she's told other people, that I've been sick, but nothing was really wrong with me. But she does that. Projection. Their real thoughts of what they do, they put them on to others. Even bigger story than that. I actually had surgery years ago, and I was living at home. And I had surgery. My car was stolen before the surgery, and that was another thing to deal with along with the surgery. However, my dad was trying to take care of me. I thought the whole goal was, because I had surgery, they would both help me. But it turns out, because she got so sick and she was so worried about what happened to my car, and I'm not going to say she didn't, but many of us know, if you don't, they can feign illness to get attention, narcissistic supply. And yeah, that's the thing sometimes, but also there are times, especially if they get called out for something, that they can actually be ill. But understand the difference is all I'm going to say. Well, here's my dad trying to take care of both of us. He's going to the hospital to check on her. And I just said in my mind at that time, I'm good. I could take care of myself as much as I can possible. Boy, that was some strength. That was surely unfair to my dad. And it made me mad that you would try to play someone like that. Some other things. Gaslighting is one. Two. Gaslighting and trying to make you feel bad because you don't want to do what they want you to do. Well, I had plenty of those. I remember seeing her go into a rage one time when I was in high school, and I didn't want to go with her. She wanted to go somewhere. I didn't want to go with her. I mean, she went into a rage. I mean, like almost stomping up and down. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. We all fall short of the glory of God. We all do. But with narcissists, that's an unfortunate commonality. They don't care nothing about God or pleasing God for that matter. Some think that they are actually God and that we should view them as God in our lives, and that's a no-no. The playing of hot and cold, running hot and cold. I would see my mother as a kid, and sometimes throughout my life, before I made a decision to just stop the communication, she would sometimes in the morning be fine, but I really noticed it when she was around my sisters, my older sisters. She would go out and be fine and come back and have an attitude towards me, running hot and cold, and I would never know. And this is such a bad thing to do with kids because it sets a bad example when you don't know why somebody's nice one moment and they're nasty the next. And I would never ask her before because I felt like, either she would tell me or I couldn't question her as a mother as to why she was acting a specific way. What that does is that sets you up to people please, to care so much about other people. As empaths, you already have a sense of knowing other people's emotions, but you can become too attached to those emotions. Well, you're acting this way today. You're not speaking to me today. What's wrong? What's happened? And the wrong people, toxic, narcissistic people will play on that and get supply from it because you're caring too much about what other people think. You're people pleasing. And that caused me to be in that category of people pleasing and feeling bad because I thought something was wrong with them. Now, to people who aren't toxic or narcissistic, they're going to look at you like nothing's wrong with me. And if you get into a habit of asking that often, they're going to look at you like, what's wrong with you? Nothing's wrong with me. I'm good over here. They could be having a bad day. It has nothing to do with you. Not with the narcissist, because they know how to play that game to get what they want. I can remember times of a lot of verbal abuse, being called names, being called stupid. I overheard me being called a bad word, a curse word. Physical abuse. There were times when and I'm talking about as a kid, just tired of just the continued push, just trying to push me to get angry because that's something that they love to do. They love to push you to a point of anger by just raging at you. And what they're raging at you about, it could have been something you did. I'm not perfect. I've done, things, but never to a point where you just rage out. And I mean, when she hit me, I could tell the rage within her. I don't know what to say to children who experience that. But to you adults, if you've experienced that, you're going to always remember that. And you have to come to a space where you start to heal. I'm not going to allow these thoughts to continue to control me, and I'm dragging this baggage. One last thing. Finances. Oh boy. She had this attitude of champagne taste with beer pockets. She worked, and she felt as though she should keep her money while spending everybody else's and wouldn't pay bills. Okay. But when you get a letter that says you're behind or a call, she had this entitlement of, well, this bill is due, this bill is late, somebody need to give me some money, was pretty much what she was saying. And nobody ever said to her with a correct standing, because I felt like as a child, being a small child, as an adult, listen, this is your responsibility. They don't take responsibility. They don't take accountability for anything. If something goes wrong, even though they caused it, it's your fault. It's your fault. I had some credit cards in her name, and I remember one time when I was an adult, I received a call from a creditor saying that my bills had not, well, they hadn't received a payment on the credit card, and it had been 90 days. Okay, even though it was in my name, the company is not going to reach out to the person who's using it, aka my mother. They're not going to reach out to her expecting payment. My name is on that card. They're not trying to hear anything other than your name is on that card. You need to pay this bill. It hasn't been paid in 90 days. So when I contacted my mother and told her about it, she swore up and down it had been paid. I said, Mama, they're not going to call me and tell me that this bill hasn't been paid in 90 days if it had, if you're saying that you had in fact been paying it. No. Here's what I was told. I was told, you believe whom and ever you want to believe. And that was the end of that discussion. So what I did in my frustration, because getting upset and going in on her was not going to change anything, I had to pay that bill and made a decision to just close the accounts and to make a decision. We're not giving her credit cards anymore. That's not going to happen. And you have to really think about who you can or who you should be paying. Who you should be given access to your credit. You cannot allow everybody to have access to your credit. And that is going to be a no-go. And we have to be wise if we do that. You know, we have to start small, and as somebody becomes more and more trustworthy, we see that they're more and more trustworthy, then we have to make the decision. Okay, I'll give this person a credit card. And if you see that, you know, they're doing well, making the payments, you're good. But if you see early on that it's not happening, you cut it off immediately. Shut that credit card down. If you can pay it off, okay? Don't just give anyone access to your credit, but that's something that happened to me growing up. So I just wanted to talk about some of those things that I experienced with a narcissistic mother. And if you've experienced it, look, I can understand. We've experienced different things with our narcissistic parents, and it's hard because they laid the foundation for who we are as a people. You know, I had dreams and goals and would speak those to my mother, and it was just like, well, who would do that? Who would do, X, Y, Z? It's almost like they wanted to just ruin your plans and goals for the future because they wanted the focus, again, to be on them and not what you wanted. I would say if you've experienced these things, pray and ask God for strength. Read the Bible if you're having ruminating thoughts, and learn who God says you are. Okay, that's not going to take away what happened. You're always going to have the memories there. But in my opinion, a prayer life is helpful. Can you get help from therapists? Yes. There's nothing wrong with that. I do not believe that God will be against you if you're trying to really get some assistance. But I would say keep him in the picture as well. Get help. There's nothing wrong with getting help, but don't be a permanent victim. That's not what you want to do here, okay? I hope you all have a great day. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and be saved. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye.